So we are going to make our way to Portugal, and there she is. Hi, Joana.
Hello.
Nice to see you. We are making our way to northern Portugal to discuss with Joana, who I saw your title is Community Architect, and I love it, I have to say. Such a nice title, and it fits you very well. So I'm not going to say too much right now because I want you to introduce yourself, but I just want to say that we are going to discuss with you about how to think about interior design for your co-working space. Joana, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the presentation, can you maybe start by introducing yourself?
Of course. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really glad to be here with you today. And I've been following your work, and I really, really love what you are doing and spreading the word about co-working. And congratulations. So I'm Joana. I'm from Portugal. I'm an architect. I studied architecture, and I went abroad to start working to make my practice as an architect in Catalonia, in Spain. So when I came back to Portugal, I started my own practice, and I can explain it a little bit better in my presentation if you want. How did I start as an architect and until today?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Do you want to share your screen or?
If I let me see, because I've never used this interface, maybe you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. Just give me a second.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to know if you wanted to do it or not, but I can do it. There we go. Just give me a sec.
I just saw it. If you want, I can do it.
Yeah, do it. I was going to put it on, but go for it. And for those of you guys tuning in now, Joana is joining us from northern Portugal in a beautiful city called Viana do Castelo. So if you pass by northern Portugal, I would advise you to make a stop there because it's a beautiful city. Did you make it, Joana? Or?
I don't think so. Let me try. No, better you do it because it's asking me for the password that I don't know exactly why.
Interesting.
Okay. Can you see it? Because it says to me that is.
Yes.
I'm sharing.
Oh, wait.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Now we see it.
Okay. Let me just try to. No. Okay. I will start like this. Okay. So, Dinamo10 is a creative hub. I will explain you why we started calling ourselves a creative hub and not a co-working space later on the presentation. So, just to let you understand exactly where we are in Portugal, in Viana do Castelo, north of Portugal, really near to the Galicia border in Spain. I really like to show this slide because I think to explain all my path and the way I started and what I'm doing today, it's very important to talk about the context, the size, the scale, and the context where Dinamo10 is located and where I'm working from. So this is my city. Viana do Castelo, there's a river, there's the ocean and the mountain. It's not a big city, there isn't that much population as you can see, but we are really near from Porto, Spain, and so we are very connected to the rest of the world. So my path, as I was saying to you, I've started working in Barcelona, doing my practice in another office in RCR Architects. And in 2007, I decided to come back to my hometown and start working from here, where I established my own office from home, of course. So this was the space where I was working at home, where I would be working, receiving friends, clients. And in 2010, I reached the moment when I decided, okay, I should separate my personal life from my professional life. and I started looking for an office, and I found this space which I thought, okay, this is amazing. The exterior patio was really nice. But I thought this is maybe too big just for my own office. And what I was understood when I was looking for this new space was it was more important for me to be connected with other people than just change space to work. So the idea of creating Dinamo10 was born from this need. I had the opportunity to work from a space where I could do other activities like exhibitions, workshops, talks, and connected with other professionals, entrepreneurs that were on the same situation as I was. This was also a place for me to set up the perfect environment for work for me. Like I would like to be surrounded with people, maybe bringing my dog to the co-working space. And that's how Dinamo10 was born at that time. This timeline, I think it's also very important because it has a little bit to do also with the context where we started. So in 2011, we called ourselves Dinamo10 Cowork Viana. And then 2 years later, we understood that the word co-working was being a little bit misused, and people were not understanding exactly what it meant. And some people were using it as we felt not in a really good way. So everything would fit co-working. So we thought, okay, the word collaboration is more important for what we are doing. We are really collaborating. So we call it ourselves a collaborative space. Then 2 years later, more or less, we said, okay, the word space doesn't fit what we are doing because we noticed that there was a lot of people that wanted to be connected with Dinamo10, but they didn't need the space exactly. I think this has a lot to do with the context because we are a small town. It's not that expensive to have your own office. It's not that you need to focus more your expenses on traveling to sell your work to the near cities or even to other cities in the country. So we said, okay, let's change it, and we changed it to cultural business habitat. And the difference to what we did it 2 years later to creative business habitat is just that we were more connected with the word creativity. We wanted the word business to be in our presentation because our community was mainly from the creative people from the creative sector, and it was very important for us to say, okay, creative people, they are also business. They also need to live from their work. And because we are doing a lot of initiatives to support creative professionals. Then in 2017, we started being part of the European Creative Hubs Network. And that's when we felt, okay, this model, it reflects more what we are doing. We are really connected to this kind of projects. And so we started doing a transformation in the way we communicate, the way we present ourselves, our brand. And we decide, okay, let's call ourselves a creative hub because that's the concept that really represents what we are doing. So right now, inside of the Creative Hub, we have 5 different areas in which we work that we represent into actions. So the community, it's a place to share. The co-work, the infrastructure is a place to work. Then we have the lab, which is a place to fail, to try new projects. This is a place, a project where we launch projects and ideas that come from the community. So we don't have a client asking for it. We present them. We work together. We talk about the ideas we have, and we start working on it. And we feel like this is really important. Let's work. Let's move forward. And when we find that this is a really interesting project for the region or for our community, we look for funding to implement it. The studio, it's a place where we create, and this is we work like an agency. So we have a client that comes for us with a challenge, and we build the community, and we present the service for this client. And the cafe is something that we added to our hub because we just moved to a new space, and here we had opportunity to have this kind of space because there's a kitchen, and so the space is more open to the exterior. So we decided to have a cafe where we can locals can meet the community. So there's a way from our for our project to be more connected with the local community, which was something that we didn't had in the previous space. So I will show you a little bit of our work. This is our new space, Dinamo10, Cowork and Cowork Cafe. And this is the co-work. We are in a old building. It's a really beautiful heritage building here in the city. We are really glad. Our work, I think it's nice, but the building itself, it's really charming. So it's helped a lot for us to come when we change the space. And this is the cafe. This is the entrance. We enter from the cafe, and then on the back. So this is the cafe here. On the back, you have the co-work space. Here on the right, we have the meeting room. This meeting room can be transformed in an auditorium for workshops and presentations. And the cafe, it's like a self-service model. So people from the exterior, they can come here and use the facilities, and also the co-workers can also use it. This is Temporada Cowork Cafe, the first Cowork Cafe in Portugal. And this, as you can see here, it's a very long space. We had some struggles here because there's only, this is the road and this is the patio, and we have the interior here to adapt. There we did some transformation with the auditorium, so that the meeting room can be transformed in an auditorium. It's this area. There are standing desks that can be transformed in this auditorium. The entrance is the co-work cafe, and on the back we have the co-working space there. And then here we created the Skype or the phone booth and the nap booth. This is this was supposed to be a video, but I can't do it. Sorry, I will show you the project. This is Untile. It's a web agency. They were in our co-working space, and after 4 years being with us, they moved to their own location. And for us, this project was really interesting to do because we knew them really well. They were sitting next to us, and then we had the opportunity to design their own new facilities. So it was really nice. We worked with them first time in 2018, and now in 2022, what we did was, after the pandemic, they asked us to do some transformation in the workspace because there is this challenge mainly for software companies to make their space, their office more attractive for their employees to come back to the office, and also because they grew too much, so now the spaces needs to be very flexible to have just 10 people, 20 or 30 people at the same time in the space. This is Quinta da Quinhas, a rural co-living we designed here in Vila Praia de Ancora, next to our city. So this is a rural, it was a farm. This is the old house, and these were the animals facilities. So in the whole house we did the co-living, and this we did the co-work space for the co-workers. So I just have a few photos. As you can see, there's the exterior is really beautiful, rural. There are a lot of projects they are doing there connected with rural thematic. And here in the co-working space, we tried to use rough materials, and we adapted the facilities that existed there for the animals. Now they are at the office for the co-workers. So we call these four spaces the oink rooms, because these were the space where previously the pigs were. This is a project in India for Ablis Hotel. The client first called us to work on the co-working, adapting just one floor to be a co-work space, because his target clients were mainly business travelers. So we started doing this part of the project, but then we also did the project for the renovation of the lobby, the restaurants, the rooftop, and we started working also on the project of an expansion for a co-living. So on this side, it's just a traditional hotel, and the idea on this building next to the main building, it's just focused on longer stays. It's a co-living, and the connection is made by the exterior area, the swimming pool and garden. This is the project for the co-work space. We called it Ablis Business Hub. We help the client also. We did some consultancy for the project development for what he needed to do to adapt what was the target group of the hotel, and how could he welcome locals and the clients of the hotel in the same space. And that's it. I don't know if you want to, I think we can go on with your questions.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's fascinating to see also how much you've developed. I have to say, I haven't seen the new space. So now I can see it, and it's really cool. I'm really like,
I hope
wow.
you come to visit. Yes.
Yeah.
We are
Dimitar,
really
you wanted
glad.
to say something?
No, I'm just here for the questions, because I really would like to ask Joanna a few things, and because we've met her multiple times and we've seen her space and the spaces that she's worked with, and I want maybe, Joanna, for you to tell us a bit more about the lights that you use in your spaces, because it's something custom that you made, no? And
Well,
I see them on all your projects and in the space, and especially when you have like a lower ceilings, you need like lights that can cover a bigger surface and not be on the way of people. So how important is lighting in your work is my question.
Well, I would say lighting is very important for all the uses, but for office, of course, it's really, really important. Sometimes people have difficulty understanding that they need to spend money on this, on lighting, because even it's the space where you are most of the time, and it affects a lot on your productivity. But of course, when you don't have a big budget, this can be a problem. And for the example, we have Temporada and Tile, this web agency. We did the custom one so we connected the electrician with the carpenter, and we worked together designing one lighting that could solve these issues. Here in our space, we worked with a Portuguese brand, which is, the name is Next Lights, and they have these possibilities of connecting the lighting and with the shapes that you can use. So we designed it for the space.
My turn to ask. Dimitar, you wanted maybe a follow-up question. Sorry.
No, I just want to thank Joanna for the answer, because sometimes people undervalue how important is the atmosphere of a space, and what kind of type of professionals you set up the workspace for. So do you need more light? Do you need like dim lights? Do you need like a place where like people have to like wind down or like think about or go and like work by themselves or in group of people? So with light, you can create a lot of those environments. And when people think about interior designs, it's not only furniture, it's not only the paint, but light is so important. So finding your the best light for your space, it's kind of tricky, but very important. Yeah. After you, Pauline.
I feel like we are grilling Joanna a little bit. I have a question for you, because as I said and earlier, you say you are community architect, which I really love. And as you showed us just now, you help many co-working spaces around the world with their architecture and interior design concepts. And I want to ask you, what do you usually see your clients struggling with when you take on the brief?
So, by the way, just to explain a little bit why I call myself a community architect, I've been struggling a lot since I've started Dinamo. If I should go on as an architect or focus just in Dinamo, or the opposite. If I just, quit Dinamo and focus on being an architect. And this was just a struggling I have all the time. What should I do? Because, of course, I'm not 100% in one or in the other. What I'm doing right now is just building a team in one side and building a team on the other side that can help me work on both. But lately, what I understood, no, I can combine both and be. So that's why I call, like, I'm a community architect and a space coach. So to combine both, how can I merge both and help my clients? And because many times I come to my clients, even if they are companies or co-workspace, and they say to me, I need your help. We need to do a new room for our employees to hang out, or and to have a better reception for our clients to understand better our space. And I go there, I understand, space, it's not the first thing you should invest in. You should invest better in your brand, in the dynamics with your employees. How can you make them connect better with your brand in the company, the work they are doing? How can you do some dynamics with them for them to feel more connected with each other, to bond? And yes, of course, the space is very important for this, but sometimes there are other things that you need to do first for people to start using the space. And that's we just finished the project here in Braga for a company, also a software development company. And I think when the last time we went to visit the space, I asked the client, "Are you happy? Did your employees already come here? And how do they feel?" And he said, "Yeah, everyone is. They like the space. I think it will work really well." But then I started talking with him. You know that the space is okay, but if you don't start doing some engagement activities, they will come, but space, we have space everywhere, and sometimes we prefer to stay at home, or we can go to the cafe or the library or whatever. And now internet connection, we can be on the mountain working or in the beach. So the really important thing is which dynamics are you going to do in your space that really attract your employees to come back and to want to come and to bond and to engage with each other. This is one of the things, and I think this is something that I can. It's the value I can add to my clients, because I have both experience as an architect and as a community manager in a co-working space. Then, answering directly also for your question, as an architect, what I would say is that sometimes people struggle with their budget, of course, because mainly on co-working spaces when we are designing co-working spaces. Then I would say also the acoustic. It's always a problem because we normally work with this kind of like more industrial buildings or heritage buildings. So, you know, the investment you need to do in acoustic is very big. And this can be a problem sometimes, of course, even because what Dimitar said is like you need to the lighting and the comfort people feel, you know, like the acoustic is very important. Lighting and acoustic, I think it's the main things that sometimes it's difficult to understand. It's important to spend money. And then we have been moving like this the space, this way of using the space like activity based workspace. I think this is a really important concept because now our office is just our laptop. So people come with their laptop, they can sit in different desks, but sometimes it's difficult if you don't have a big space. So flexibility is very important. How can you invest in flexibility? And then this is a meeting room, then can be a workshop or for meetings or, you know, for events. How can flexibility help you to change the activities you do on a space that is maybe not that big? And I would say also it's very important. Sometimes co-working managers, they have difficulty defining their target group, and I think it's very important to define it really well. But this doesn't mean that other people won't come. For example, Dinamo, I think we my network since the beginning is a creative professionals network with whom we have been working since our first days as architects. So in the co-working space, this would be also the target. And I think the space was always designed for this kind of people. But this doesn't mean then engineers, software developers, lawyers can't come to the space because they want to be connected with these kind of people, or they like these kind of spaces, more creative spaces.
Yeah, I feel a lot of the things you touched based on were some of the things we've also seen at Orgatech, that fair where we were last week. Flexibility, acoustic, lighting, they all combine together, they all make the space somehow more it attracts certain type of people more than others, which also is a good bridge to my next question, because as an architect, I wanted to get your feeling on like what are the latest interior design and architectural trends that you are the most interested in or that you follow closely.
Well, I think this flexibility of spaces, I've always liked it. How can you transform the space? And it's even in housing projects, we like to implement this concept, and or hospitality projects also. But I would say it's not only because the space needs to adapt to different uses and because we are changing all the time what we want to do or the way we use space. And I think with the pandemic, there was a really big transformation on the way people use the space, but also because there is this surprise effect. And I think this is what people really love when they see, oh wow, this can or it happens here in our space. We have a partition that opens or closes, and so the meeting room gets into the cafe, or the cafe comes into the meeting room, and people are really surprised when they come here. I never saw this like this. And I think this surprise effect, it's also a way of engagement of your and not to get bored. I feel like they don't get bored. So there are this like functional side, and there's this surprising effects side that I think it's very interesting on flexibility.
And there is something also that you touched on a few times in your presentation around interior design being expensive. when someone comes at you and say, "Oh, it's too expensive interior design, I can't afford it," what's your take on it, or how do you approach that part of the expensiveness?
So yeah, I try. What we try to do is to make with some projects. For example, there's and I think for co-working space, there's this. You always reach a point like, what if we don't do it with just all costume design, and we go to IKEA and we buy there the furniture, desks. And we do like a comparison. Sometimes it's not like less expensive, and what we try to do is that we try to design like costume design that's your identity. Try to because otherwise co-working spaces will always all look the same as each other, and this happens a lot. You go to a co-working space, you see the same shelf or the same desk, and then you go to the other, so there is no identity. So we try to balance this idea of having your own identity with a low budget. How can we do this? How can we combine this? And also making furniture robust, like you feel like it's a really proper desk, that it's not moving all the time, that you sit or you move a little bit.
Actually, there is a question for you from the audience, Joanna, on that topic. Sam from London is asking us, is custom-made furniture better than ready-made solutions for co-working spaces?
I don't think there's no right or wrong for this question. I think there are really good custom design solutions, and there are other solutions that you can buy, like and it's depends on the budget you have, and the availability also you have, because it's totally different to design it and then to buy it, and to set up the space. So I prefer, of course, to design and to connect the space with the identity, the target group that the client wants to reach. I think some custom design you need to do in order to be unique, or to transmit your concept and the idea you want to. How can you attract your clients? This is the way I believe in interior design for office. Of course, for example, a chair, I don't think we should try to design chairs. So, well, maybe product designs, yes, but there are a lot of solutions in the market that are there, and you can use them. But some elements I think should be custom designed for the spaces.
And my last question to you, what would be your one piece of advice for viewers currently working on the interior design of their space?
I would say that is very important to define your target group. Which clients are you want to reach? And then, as I said before, it doesn't mean that only these kind of people will go there, but this will help you have a really, how do you say, strong concept for your space. Because sometimes people feel, oh no, but if I only communicate for creatives, then the market, my market is really small. And this doesn't mean that other people won't come, but this will help you to define better the concept of your space, I think.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for sharing so many insights with us. As I was saying earlier, I'm amazed, because as Dimitar was saying, we know you pretty much since the time we started with Coworkies, and to see how much you've grown in your journey with Dinamo10 and with all the projects you're carrying on, it makes me super happy. So thank you so much for everything you do, and I hope we'll get to see each other very soon again. It's been a while.
I'm waiting for your visit to the new space.
We have to make our way, yes.
Yes, please. And thank you for the invitation. I'm really glad to share.
It was our pleasure to have you. Everyone, we will add all the links to Joana's LinkedIn, her work, her space in the recap of the event. So don't worry, you have ways to connect with Joana afterwards through the recap we'll be sending. Thank you so much, Joana. I think it's raining. I see behind people with umbrellas.
Yes,
So,
it is.
yes.
It's raining.
Well, then enjoy the day despite the rain, and I hope we see each other soon.
Bye. See you.
See you.